Here's a breakdown of an exercise I love for unsticking the sacrum. During pregnancy, it's not uncommon to experience gripping or tightness in the back of the pelvis. Glute clenching, posterior pelvic floor tightness, postural changes with a pushing forward of the pelvis or tucking under the pelvis and a lean back, maybe tailbone pain. All of this can contribute to the sacrum getting kind of locked down. And not only is that uncomfortable, but it's not very functional for labor because during labor, we want the sacrum to be able to move to accommodate baby's head descending down into the pelvis. So think of this like a cat-cow, but for the pelvis. So we're going to keep the mid and upper spine neutral, and we're just going to tilt the pelvis into an anterior position and a posterior position. We're going to fire up the hamstrings using the wall so that when we draw the pelvis under, we're anchoring it under using the hamstrings instead of clenching our glutes. Okay, so let's find a tabletop position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and you want the balls of your feet on the baseboard. Spread out through the hands and press the mat away so we're not sinking down into our shoulders. We're in a nice stable shoulder position. Spine at neutral. Now I want you to push the balls of your feet into the wall and think of dragging them up the wall. So when you do that drag up, you should feel the back of your leg engage, the hamstrings engage. And we're going to keep that engagement as we move through these pelvic tilts. So on an inhale through your nose, think of flaring the tailbone up towards the ceiling as the pelvis tilts forward. So there'll be an increase to the arch of that lower back, but we're keeping the mid and upper spine neutral. As you exhale out through the mouth, think lift to the pelvic floor, hug the abdominal wall, draw that tailbone under, lengthening through the lower back. Using our hamstrings, make sure the glutes stay soft so you're not clenching your butt to draw the pelvis under. And you're going to continue moving like that, tilting the pelvis forward and back, moving with your breath, keeping that hamstring engagement. And once you do about 8 to 10 reps, when you come into the posterior tilt, so tailbone drawing under, I want you to hold it here. Make sure you have that hamstring engagement, dragging the feet up the wall. And we're going to take some breaths here. Inhale through the nose. As you do, think expand the rib cage, relax the pelvic floor, send the breath down into the back of your pelvis. Exhale out through the mouth, little lift to the pelvic floor. Feel mostly front of the pelvic floor. Hug the abdominal wall. And continue to do those diaphragmatic breaths here, maintaining that posterior tilt position. You would take 5 to 8 breaths there. Now, to isolate or to emphasize one side over the other, you could also do this by putting a yoga block or a textbook under one knee so that you're in a hip shifted position and then repeating the movements and the holds and the breath work on one side and then the next.